brief introduction about the company TNCL. So we are basically into cybersecurity, business analytic, and digital infrastructure solution managed services. And also we have a part where we do this training. So from the training I'm representing today, just to give a brief knowledge about Python programming. Since this is just a 1 hour session, so I'll be just giving you brief idea and how to start with Python programming. So as we know that Python is among the most 10 popular programming language, and if you have only a basic knowledge about programming, or if you have just began your programming from the scratch, I think Python is going to be the best first language for you to start coding. And also because of its growing popularity and versatility of this programming language, I think this is the right time you start learning the programming language. I think a lot of the students, I think there are a lot of student in this session, so I think this session will be giving you a brief knowledge about what are all the various career opportunities also available in Python. So it is a good time you start with Python programming. So I will just begin with the agenda. So the agenda of the session is, first is we'll know what is Python. So I'll just give you a brief knowledge about what is Python, what is the features of Python, and why it is so popular, and what is the history of Python. So that is the first agenda we'll be seeing. The next is who uses Python today. So it is very much important for us also to know what are the big brands that are using Python, and how it is popular, and what is the reason, and how they are using Python in their industry, and benefiting their business. So that's the second agenda. And third thing is what I can do with Python. So what are the different fields where I can use Python and I can develop myself. Then I will also be giving you a brief knowledge about what are the career opportunities that are available in the market in for Python, what is the different job roles, job profiles, and what are the salaries that you can get in different job profiles. So that is career opportunity we'll be discussing about. Then how you should begin with Python, like if you're thinking about taking Python as your uh, profession, then where you should start as a beginner, what is the different level you should go, and at last reach your goal. So beginning with what knowledge I should have, then what is the second level of knowledge I should have. So that the learning path also I'll be giving you. Then we'll be moving on to the, so this is a 1 hour session, so I'll not be able to give you all the knowledge about the coding, but I will try to give you as much as possible in this one session. So I'll be showing you different ideas where you can which you can use for working with Python, and what are the different fundamental concept and important concept of Python that you should know as a fundamental, and what are the advanced level concept also I'll be telling you. So beginning with fundamental and then moving to the advanced level, and how you can work with databases in Python. So I'll be giving you a brief knowledge about also about how to use MySQL Workbench, how you can use Python connector and connect with MySQL Workbench, and you can do manipulation of databases in Python. And at last I will show also how to extract the data in Pythons. So basically here we'll be seeing how to install something called as Anaconda, and uh, do data extraction by using pandas. Okay, so this is all we'll be discussing in this 1 hour webinar session. I will try to give you maximum as much as I can in this 1 hour session. So if you have any doubt or anything, you can just we will have a question and answer session in the end, so you can just ask me the question at the end of the session. So we'll start with what is Python. So here I'll be basically telling you what is Python and what is the history of Python. So if you see Python, it is an interpreted high level general purpose programming language. So now what is interpreted? So I want this session to be even little interactive. So if anybody has any answer, they can just unmute themselves and they can also participate in this webinar session. So anybody who knows what is interpreted? feel free to answer. If you have anything, whether it's right or wrong, you can just unmute yourself and try to answer some few simple questions. Is everybody comfortable with English, or should I also use Tamil? You can put on the chat session if you want. Hello. I can see from Nandini it's fine. Okay, then I'll continue with English, I guess. Okay, so anybody know what is interpreted language? Why we call Tamil also? Okay, I have seen a more chat like they want me to tell in Tamil also. Okay, interpreted language, Naina. Any idea?
Can I just
Yes.
add something?
Yeah, just please.
Yeah, well, it's nothing but a type of language for which most of its implementations will execute instructions directly or and freely, in fact. Um
Okay,
so,
thank you. Yeah, may I know your name?
I'm Sujal.
From which college may I know?
I'm from Sri Sairam Engineering College.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I got an answer from one of the active participant in our session. So thank you very much. And yes, it is the way you execute a program. So interpreter is nothing but line by line execution. I can also see some answer in the chat session. So it is very good that people are also answering the chat session. So if anybody have any answer, please you can also post in the chat session where I'm also reading your chats. Okay, so interpreter is nothing but it is executing the program line by line. So that makes so it makes very easy for us to even debug the program easily. Okay, so that is a big advantage of interpreted programming language. And high level language. So why do we call it as a high level language? ஏன் நம்ம வந்து ஒரு லாங்குவேஜ் பைத்தன் வந்து ஹை லெவல் லாங்குவேஜ் சொல்றோம்? Because we don't have to think about or worry about the memory management or software architecture of a Python. Okay, you can just do the coding and everything will be taken care by your Python interpreter. So you don't have to worry about your software architecture, how the memory management is going to take place. You don't have to worry about it. So it is going to interpret your program, whatever you're coding, and you can just give your coding and you can just execute your program freely. And the third thing is general purpose programming language. So why do we call it as a general purpose programming language? Because by using Python, நீங்க வந்து various you can write software. Okay, you can use Python to write different kind of software in wide applications. So that is the reason we are calling it a general purpose programming language. So the next thing is history of Python. So what is the history? So any idea? யார் கண்டுபிடிச்சிருக்கா Python? Who is the one who has founded Python? Anybody? You can also post your answer here like you're doing in the chat session. Okay, so the answer is Guido van Rossum. So Guido van Rossum is the guy who created Python in 1989. So it was initially, if you see, it was created as a scripting language. Okay, then it was after it was released publicly in 1991, then it was developed as a well scripted language and well development language. And then another reason for calling that is why this name Python has come. So the reason is because Guido van Rossum liked the show called as Monty's Python Flying Circus. So that is how this name Python has been coined. Okay, somebody has answered like it was released in 1991. Yes. Okay. So this is just what is Python and what is the history of Python. So we'll move on to the next thing is what are the features, that is what features is making Python the most popular one, or you are saying it is easy one. So what are the different features of Python and how popular it is? So first I will tell you what is the features. So first one is easy. So why do we call it as an easy language? Anybody?
Because it's more easily, like it's you can, as you write in English language, uh,
Yeah.
it's more easily interpreted.
Yes, yes, it is very, why we are calling it is easy. So like you said, it is easily understood, and it is a developer friendly language because it has a very easy structure, and anyone and everyone can learn this language. So I can say it is a short code, open source is one answer I have got. Okay, so it is very easy because it is developer friendly, and another thing, it is can be learned by anyone and everyone. So that is why it is called as an easy language. Expressive. Anybody can tell me what is expressive? You can answer. Nobody is going to judge you here. Be feel free to answer. So expressive because as said, it is if you see the coding, you, it will be very, it is understand. I got an answer. Yes, understandable language. Yes, it is very understandable. By just seeing the code, you can understand what operation it is going to perform and what are the variables that is declared. You can easily find out. It is very expressive. And next thing is it is and also another answer, it is extended from Java or C. Oh yes, it is. Okay, and you can say next feature is free and open source. So why we call it as an open source? Any idea? ஒரு language வந்து ஏன் open source language சொல்றோம்?
because it's available for everyone.
Yeah, it is available for everyone, and anyone can create and contribute to the towards the development of this programming language. Okay, so that is the reason why we call it as a open source, and it is freely available. Anyone can download and start working with Python. They can participate in a forum in a Python, and they can just contribute towards the development of Python. So this, that is the reason it is called free and open source, which is another important or interesting concept of features of Python. It is a high level language, which definition I've already given you. Portable because you can use in any platform that you have developed in one platform, then you can even transport into another platform, and your Python coding will exactly work as it is. And object oriented. So anybody knows any object oriented concept? Any one concept you can say, any object oriented concept, you know?
Java uses object-oriented programming.
Yes, you have not learned object oriented concepts. Okay, object
Java,
yeah, tell me.
Java is based on object-oriented programming.
Yes, Java is based on object oriented programming, that is right. I was just asking what are the concepts that you have seen in Java that will tell you that it is an object oriented concept. I can see an answer: exception handling, encapsulation, very good, abstraction, yes. Yeah, so I have seen quite a few answer here. So again, encapsulation, abstraction. So all these are object oriented concept. Inheritance, yes, Nandini. Okay, so all these concepts will help to create a real world program, and that is also possible in Python. So Python is not only just your scripted language, interpreted language, it is also an object oriented language. So all these features are incorporated in programming, Python programming. So you can easily create a real world problem solution to a real world problem by using Python through the object oriented concept like objects, class, inheritance. So all this will are also incorporated in your Python programming. And extensible. So what do you mean by extensible? So you can import your coding in other languages also in Python. So that is why it is called extensible. Embedded, any idea about embedded? So you know that, yeah, somebody is ready to answer. Yeah, the systems, yes. Apart from computer, other electronic device, if you want to control that other devices, you can do by using your embedded programming. So C and C++ is usually used for embedded programming, but you can also use Python, so which is more flexible and which is more easier to do. And already we discussed interpreted, and Python consists of a huge libraries. So it has a lot of library functions, so you can use those functions that will reduce the complexity of your programming, and it reduces the lines of coding in programming. So when you have huge library function, you don't have to do much coding in Python. So everything you can import from the library, and you can reduce the lines of code and also the complexity of your program. So that is the another important feature of your Python programming. And GUI, what do you mean by GUI? Anybody?
Interface.
Yes, graphical user interface. So you can even make your Python result more visual also. So by using wide arrays of GUIs, you can import and make your result more visual by using GUI. And dynamically typed. So dynamically typed is nothing but in Python programming, you're not going to use, I got an answer, graphical user interface by Shamima. Yes, it is right. And you can use in Python, you don't have to mention the data types. So it is dynamically found in during the runtime whether what is the data type of that particular variable. Okay, so these are the different features which makes Python a very popular one. And if you see the popularity of Python, so you can see it is in the slide, you can see it is trending. So it is in the top. So top in a sense, it is the trending language in your language, in your as your college student, you are more comfortable the word called trend. So Python is trending actually. So it is the topmost. You can see this I have taken just yesterday, and it is in the top. So Python is the top trending language. Then comes your Java, JavaScript, C Sharp, C++. So this is why Python is popular. So this is all about what the first agenda, what is Python. We will move on to the next, who uses Python today. So we have seen like there are a lot of features of Python that it is making, why it is so easy, and how it is, what are the different features and how much popular it is. Now it is very much also important to know who uses Python today. What are the big brands today that are using Python? So if you see that Netflix, so everyone is aware of Netflix, right? You can answer with a yes. Okay, what is a popular series? You can post in the chat. What is the popular Dark? Dark is the series of Nandini's favorite in Netflix. Then Money Heist, my favorite too. Yes. So Netflix, you have been watching a lot. You are watching a lot of series. So Netflix is one of the biggest video streaming service across the globe. And if you see the popularity, 37% of internet user worldwide are using Netflix. So if you see the Netflix has 167.09 million paid subscribers, and their revenue is $20 billion. Okay, what more answers? Stranger Things, yes. So Netflix is quite popular. So over 75% of what you watch in Netflix is recommended by Netflix. And these recommendations are made by machine learning. And most of the developers in Netflix are given the freedom to choose any technology to make a Netflix that is even a better one. So most of the developer at Netflix, what language they are using is Python. So the series and the recommendation that you see in Netflix, everything is done by machine learning, and that machine learning is using your Python programming language. So that is the reason I gave you this example. So next is Facebook. Of course, everyone will have an account in Facebook, and you will be mostly tagging each other in the post and images. So that is again of machine learning, and which is also uses Python for it. Apart from this, Instagram is also there, which uses web service Django. So Django is a framework of Python, web framework of Python, which Instagram uses it. And you can see from the presentation, there is Google again. So Google makes extensive use of Python programming language in its web search system. Then you have a Dropbox. So Dropbox is again a file hosting service or cloud storage, where you will be storing your, or even you can even have a personal cloud, and that is again using your Python language for all its operation. So these are the various various brands that are using Python today. So from Netflix to even NASA is using Python programming for data analysis and all, and IBM is using for hardware testing. So these are some popular brand that you are daily using, and Python is behind those popular brands. So this was all about who uses Python today. So next thing, so simplicity of Python is what makes it so popular. So next thing is what I can do with Python. So this was all about what big brands are doing with Python. Next we'll see what I can do. So first thing is you can do web development. So web development, so in order to create a web application at a rapid rate, you will be using Python. So Python, that you can see Django is the most popular framework to develop a web. Then comes your game development. In order to create an interactive game, you can use the Python's application Pygame. So that consists of huge function and library for creating interactive games. Then machine learning, that we already saw like you're making your computer to learn by itself. Okay, so will be machine learning is more about designing an algorithm to make the machine learn by itself. Okay, so that also uses Python. Data science, so data is a huge business, analysis of data and extractions of data, so all that also uses Python. You can use pandas for data analysis. Then matplotlib, you can also be used for desktop GUI. Web scraping, so web scraping is nothing but you are extracting information from the webs and doing a comparison analysis. So that is web scraping application. You can do business application, audio and video application, CAD application, embedded application. So these are the different application where I can do a lot more with Python. So if you're interested in game, then Python is your language. If you're interested in designing a web, then again Python is your easier and flexible language. If you're interested in becoming a data scientist, Python is for that. For that also you can learn Python. And for machine learning and artificial intelligence are the most promising, gives you a most promising future. So in that also you can needs Python, that also needs Python, so you can learn Python for that reason too. So there are different areas that will that can be used for your career. So these are different options that are available. So next is what are the career opportunities that are available in Python? So any idea, anybody? So we'll start like you have an option of becoming a software engineer, where you'll be analyzing user requirement, you will be writing and testing code, preparation of documentation, consulting your clients. So that is the first job role. There are various job role. I'll be just giving you 5 6 options. So second one is senior software engineer, so which will develop I've given the roles also, like developing high quality software architecture, automate tasks via scripting and other tools, performing validation, verification, testing. So that is the second career opportunity you have under Python. You can also be a Python developer. Then you can be a DevOps engineer, deploying and update and fixing the thing and analyze and resolve technical issues. So data scientist, which is most popular one, you can see in every place where you search, you can find, yeah, I can see one answer, data scientist. Yes, data scientist is another career option that opportunity you have in Python. Then senior data scientist. So all these are the different career opportunities you have in Python. And when we see career opportunities, definitely we got to know what kind of salary we can expect. So if you see software engineer, they have an average annual salary of 5 lakhs. Web developer, they have an average annual salaries of 3 lakhs. Data scientist, which is the highest one, which is 7 lakhs. Then comes your DevOps engineer, then machine learning engineer. So this is the average I'm saying. So you can, once you gain a good experience, you can even expect more and you can grow a lot in this career opportunities. This is about your thing in our country, but if you see in US and UK, it is even more higher, like 87 lakhs per annum you can expect in US, and in UK you can expect 63 lakhs. So it is quite high in other countries. So if you are aiming and doing something in Python, so it is the right time you can start working. So learning path. So I showed you career opportunities. So like there's a somebody has answered that data scientist. So directly you cannot become data scientist, because as a beginner you have to go one by one, that is level by level. So beginning from, you cannot directly choose a data scientist course and you can start doing it, because you need to have some fundamental knowledge in Python, only then you can choose data scientist. So you need to have a learning paths. You need to have a exact uh, the way which you have to choose in order to become a data scientist. You have to be strong in your fundamental first. So it is very important that before you choose any course in Python, make sure that you cross all the levels and then you choose it. So first level will be your beginner level. So that beginner level is your level 1. So in the level 1 you got to know all the fundamental concepts, like what is variable, what is data type. So you need to be very strong in your fundamental concept. As a beginner you should choose that course first. And second thing is intermediate level. So intermediate level is going to be your second level. So in that you need to go for the advanced concepts. So you need to be strong in your advanced concept about your object oriented programming and how to work with database. So you need to be strong in that intermediate level. Next thing is your advanced level. So when you this is the place where you can go for choosing a course called as data scientist. So once you have finished the level 1 and level 2, you can go for level 3. So in the level 3 you'll be you can opt for data scientist course, because when you reach level 3, by then you'll be very much strong in your fundamentals as well as in your advanced concepts, and then you can choose the machine learning, data scientist, or AI, or anything. That is your third level. And at last, fourth level, then you can go for even more higher level. So once you are good at your fundamentals, then you are good at your intermediate level, and then you can move to these two levels. Either it is machine learning, data scientist, or you can go for a full stack web development. So you should go uh, level by level, not just jumping to one course, just seeing that data scientist is a popular course, trending course which is going on. You should not jump directly to that course. You need to go level by level, only then you can be strong. Otherwise then you have to go like a reverse course you have to do. So be very clear in this. You need to go level by level. So any doubt in this? Am I going very fast? If you feel I'm going fast, you can just let me know through the chat session, or if you have any doubt you can let me know. So that is the final level that you need to achieve. So this was all about what is Python, what is feature, and why it is popular, and what is the big brand that are using Python. How do we know how do we know which one should we do? Arush, can you be more clear with your question? So as I said, which course you should do. You all, like if you are just began with coding and if you don't have any knowledge in Python, I prefer you to go with the beginners course. So you should be very strong with your fundamentals first. So I will tell you that if you have some knowledge, then you can go for the intermediate course where you'll be also working with database along with Python. So I will suggest you to go for the intermediate course. Okay, so to begin with the fundamental. So anybody else? Any doubt? Am I have I given you the right answer, Arush? Are you okay with the answer? Turtle and Pygame. Good. Yes, and that then you are already good at your you have created a modules. Okay. Then you are already good at your intermediate level. Then have you tried with database programming? And do you have any knowledge about extraction of data? Okay, I think you should go with intermediate level, since you're good at modules and fine with the loops also. Then you should go for intermediate level. Okay, I want to learn the APIs. Okay, then first be stronger into your intermediate level, then you can go for the web development. Okay, I think I answered your question. Okay, the next thing is fundamentals of Python. So fundamentals of Python, yeah, you can connect with us, Arush. We can tell you in more detail later. Okay, fundamentals of Python. So I'll just give you a brief knowledge about different ideally we'll be using in Python. So how to install different ideally from simple Python ideally to PyCharm and Anaconda. Then what is variables and what are data types, what are the different Python operators that Python is supporting. So data types will not be, as I said, Python is a dynamic dynamically typed. So that means you don't have to mention the data types when you're declaring your variables. Okay, so but your Python interpreter while running your program can identify the data type easily. So you don't have to worry about the data types. So that is why it is very simple structured. And next thing is we will be seeing what are the different Python operators.
Hello.
And yeah,
But we need to while the input declare a variable like float or integer, right?
excuse
We
me.
don't have to we don't have to
You
declare
don't have to
the
declare the variable, yes.
variable type. We don't declare the variable type
Well,
unlike Java or
programming,
something.
yes,
But
yes.
we the input from the
We need to be
user.
cautious with the
Yeah, we need.
what kind of values we are giving to the
Yeah,
variable.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, correct. Okay, so then Python operators. What are the different Python operators? Then what are the different data structures like list, tuples, and dictionaries? So that also will be covered under your fundamentals of Python. Then conditional statements, if else, and you will be having different looping statements, while loop and for loop, that will also be covered under fundamentals of Python. And also we'll be dealing with what is functions, how to declare functions in Python, then how to create a modules and packages. Any idea what is module? Anybody? Arush?
Module. I'm not creating module, but I've like used a module
Hmm.
here game also. Like you can use Turtle for Pygame. I already know that. Install Pygame and I've tried to make a game.
Okay,
Uh,
okay,
Set up a window
huh.
with the background color and will find it into this and
Oh,
I was trying to do something
okay,
like
okay,
adding
cool.
segment and all.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so under the fundamentals of Python, we'll also be seeing how to create a modules and packages. So that will help you to reduce the complexity of your program. You can just create a module of the requirement which you're going to create a program, or you can create a project if you're creating, and you have some different requirement that has to be imported into your project. Then you can create a module, you can put all the required function you want inside that module, and then you can just import your model in your project and easily run your. So it gives you a freedom to create your own module and packages in Python. So that is another fundamental of Python that will be covered under this. And file handling, like how to create, how to open a file. There are different modes of file. Anybody, like you would have learned other languages also, programming language, so you might know what are the different modes of files. So anybody can just tell me what are the different modes of file? Okay, so I'll
And
answer.
the
Yeah,
type of
modes. I'm asking about the modes. What are the different mode you can open a file? Sorry, we can't hear you.
is it like the .py form or .csv or
No, no, that
.txt?
is the different extension of
That's
file.
the extent. right?
Yes, yeah, I'm just asking what are the different modes of file when you're going to handle files in Python, like you're going to perform a read operation, write operation, when you're going to write something in file while you're going to read a file. So you need to open a file in a different modes. So that is what is I'm exactly asking. Yeah, one
Okay.
person has, yeah, reading mode, writing mode, yes. So that's so Vasuvi, I think she has answered. So it is reading mode, writing mode. Yes, you need to, when you open a file, it can be in a read mode, that is R indicates your read mode and W indicates your write mode. And if you want to add a content to a file, you need to you need to add a content at the last of your file without overwriting the file, then you can go for an append mode. And if you want to create a file which doesn't exist, then you can go for X mode.
Oh, okay, okay. Like
Yes.
that,
Yeah.
we can append in the list.
Yes, list, yes, append. So
That's the file.
this is mode of files. Like list is
Okay,
something
more
else. List is as data
like
structure where you're storing
yeah, it's
different
data
elements.
structured list and arrays.
Yes,
Like
it
I've
is.
learned over till.
Yeah. So list is actually your collection of element of different data types. So in that there are different methods where you can also add elements, delete the elements, modify the
Oh,
elements. So appending is where you are adding an
like
element to the end. Yes. So here
and
I'm
put is
talking about the
like
files, like you can
okay.
like if you're creating a text file, txt extension file, you can create a text file, you can add some content to the file. So when you open a file in write mode, basically what happen is your
You can
content
edit
will
it.
be, yeah, your content will be
Okay.
overwritten. So if you don't want your content to be overwritten and you want the content to be added to your file, then you can open your file in append mode. So A is the append mode that you will be opening your file, and that way you can add the content to your file without overwriting it. So that is what is file handling in Python. Then exception handling. So any idea about what is exception? Yeah, somebody's answering. Sri Lakshmi. 0 divided by 1. I can't get you. Okay. It is more like your 0 divided by 1. Guru Pavan has answered. So it is actually what you are trying to say. I can get it. So it is zero division exception. So exception is something which is unexpected error. Okay, so when you are executing your program or your part of coding may generate occurs during the execution of a program. Sujal has given the answer yes. When you're executing your program, it may create some unexpected condition, or you can say unexpected error. So in order to handle that, we are going for something called as exception handling. So as you can see in the presentation, we are using a try block, raise block, and except block. So by using these blocks, we'll be handling those exception. So when you're coding, so what we will do is basically in the try block, we'll be putting your try and catch. Guru Pavan has given, yes, exactly. So in Python also, we are going to use this try and catch and catch block kind of concept. So in the try block, you'll be generally giving your codings. So when you run that, if there is any exception, that exception will be raised and that will be sent to the exception. So you have lot of inbuilt exception in Python. So like for example, zero division error. If you're trying to divide any number by zero, then it will create an infinite loop, right? So that is an exception. So in order to handle that exception, your Python is having an inbuilt exception called as zero division exception. So whenever such kind of input your user is giving, like for example, have created a program for dividing two numbers, and the user has to give the input. So when the user is giving the input, if by mistake he's giving the dividend part as zero, then what happened? Your division will take place in a loop. Okay, so if your user is like a very new to the programming, and if they don't have any knowledge about what kind of error is raising, then I'll be giving them an exception. So I will tell them this is the exception that is occurred, that is zero division exception. The input which you have given is wrong. So that is the reason this unexpected condition or unexpected execution of your programming is taking place. So that is called as your exception. So exception can be handled in Python as well. You have seen exception in Java. You can also have exception handling concept in Python also. So that is try, raise, and except. So that is another fundamental concept of Python. Okay, so I was saying all the fundamental concept from how to create a variable, so how to install PyCharm. So these are all the things that will be covered under your fundamentals of Python. I'll just at last, after I tell you all the concepts, I will just show you few concepts by showing it and executing in few IDLEs. Then the advanced concept of Python. So in advanced concept of Python, you will be knowing what is class and what is objects. Okay, then what is inheritance? Any idea what is inheritance? Okay, what is class? So all this comes under your OOPS concept. So Java is again an object-oriented programming language. So you might know what is class and objects. So class is basically what it gives you is you can say a blueprint. Okay, I got an answer for inheritance. So inheriting properties from the parent class to the subclass, exactly. Sujal, it is the right answer. So class is just you can say a blueprint. Okay, like for example, if I'm designing a home, so for that I need a blueprint. So your house structure you can be called as your class. Then making it a home, like giving all the uh, putting all the important requirement inside the home, can then it will make it as an object. For example, here have a set of okay, another answer I've got set of objects. So class is just an instance of your it is just a blueprint of your objects. An object is actually your instance of the class. Okay, so for example, if I'm designing something for student, I'm creating a program for storing the data of students. So what I can do is I can create a blueprint of that student entity. So I can give what can be the name, what can be the department, what can be the percentage of mark a student is giving, what is the name, roll number, everything. I will design it as a blueprint, as a structure, and I will put it inside my class. And for that particular structure, I can create as many objects as I want. Okay, if it is for 100 student, I can create that object for 100 student. I can use that class structure and create for 100 student as an object. Okay, so that is what is your class and object. So inheritance, somebody has already answered, like you are inheriting. So when there are, if I'm creating one more class and that class has the same property which a class which I've already created consist of, then what I can do is, instead of again defining the same thing inside the another class, I will reuse those properties. So that is the place where inheritance will come into play, into the picture. So inheritance will help you to uh, inherit the property from an already existing class. Okay, so what is the advantage, you can say? Can anybody tell me what will be the advantage of inheritance? So you're using the already existing properties. Okay, so what will happen? It will reduce the reusable, it will reduce the reusability. That is, you can just incorporate the properties by just placing, or you just using the syntax of inheritance. You can just reuse already defined properties. So what happen is your complexity of your program will reduce. You don't have to again define again and again the same thing. You can just reuse the already existing property. So that is the biggest advantage of using inheritance. So then you have overloading concept. Anybody have any idea about overloading? No, it is not buffer overflow. I'm just overloading. So overloading is nothing but you are giving a different meaning to a operator. Allows different methods to have same name. That will be like your overriding. Sujal, it will be the answer will be appropriate for what is overriding. So overloading is like
It
operator overloading. Anybody has any idea about what is operator overloading? Somebody was trying to answer, I guess. Okay, fine. So overloading is nothing but like, for example, I'm trying to overload an operator called as addition. So addition is nothing but plus, right? So this plus operator is used for adding two numbers, right? You can use for adding two numbers. So when you use this plus operator with strings, then what happen? Any idea? If I'm using this plus operator in adding two string values, then what will be the result? It won't work. No, it will work. No, it won't be giving you any error. So the thing is, when you are trying to add two string, it is going to join those two strings. Okay, for example, hello and programming. So if you're trying to add hello plus programming, then it is going to give you hello programming. Okay, so it is going to join the two string. So here this plus operator is doing two functionality. First thing is it is trying to add two numbers. So when you are using plus operator with numbers, it is going to add two numbers like 5 plus 2. So it is going to give the result as 7. But when I'm trying to use this plus operator with the strings, like hello plus programming, then it is going to give me hello programming. Okay, so this is what is the two phases your plus operator is performing. Similarly, in overloading, what we are going to do is we are going to take the same operator, like for example, plus operator, and I'm going to try to add two objects here. Okay, so that objects can be a number object or the object can be a string object. So that is what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to try to add two objects here. So that is why it is called as overloading, operator overloading. I'm giving a different meaning for that plus operator. So that is the reason why we are calling it as overloading. I'm overloading with a different uh, function or different operation to that plus operator. So that is overloading. And overriding, already Sujal has answered. So if two classes can have same function name. So ரெண்டு கிளாஸ்க்கு ஒரே function name இருந்தா how which function will be called? So that is a question mark. Okay, for example, there is a class called as class A, there is a class called as class B. Then if class B is a subclass of class A and both the classes have the same function name, then the question mark is which function will be getting called? Class A function will be called first or class B function will be called first? Any idea? So for which object I'm creating, for which class I'm creating the object, for that object function will be called first. Okay, so always the subclass. If I'm creating an object for a subclass, then that subclass function will be called. So that is called as overriding. Always your subclass function will override the superclass function, or you can say always your derived class function will override the parent class. Okay, so that is what is overriding. So you need to be very strong in your fundamentals and you need to be very strong in your advanced concept also. So when you are very good at your fundamentals and when you're very good at your advanced concept of Python, I think then you can go with working with your databases in. So you should also have a, for this concept like working with database in Python, you need to have some knowledge about your SQL on what is database. So anybody, what is database? Any idea what is database? Just a simple thing, what a database has. Collection of data, yes, Arush is right. Guru Pavan has also given the right answer. Collection of data. So it is a storage of data, collection of huge data, where you Nandini has also answered collection of data. Yes, it is a storage of data or collection of data, you can say. And here what we'll be doing is we'll be using MySQL Workbench. Okay, so first in this concept, what you'll be actually learning is how you can install MySQL Workbench, then how you can install a connector in your ideally. So here basically I'll be showing you with the PyCharm, then how you can do database manipulation. So database manipulation is nothing but basically you'll be performing something called as CRUD operation, CRUD. So any idea about what is CRUD operation? So Vasuvi has also answered collection of information. Yes, it is. So any idea what is CRUD operation? CRUD. So if you see what is CRUD operation, it is nothing but creating, reading, updating, and deleting. So basically how to create a database and how to read a database, that is how to insert values, how to create a table, how to insert values inside the database, and how to update those values, and how to delete the records from the database. So that is what is actually a CRUD operation. So when you're dealing with database, first you need to see that how you can connect with the database through your Python, through MySQL connector. Then what you will do is basically first thing will be to check whether you are connected properly or not to your database. Then second thing is you'll be creating your own database. So after you are created your database, then you will try to insert some tables. Okay, so table is where your information will be stored. For example, if you are storing information about, for example, we can take a bank. So when you take bank, so what kind of information bank will have of their customers? Of course, they will have some information about their customers. So what kind of information they have? Personal details, yes, like name, contact number. So that is the personal details they will have. Any other thing? Nandini has answered personal details, deposit, withdrawal. So all that tracking we need to do. Yes, how much they are depositing and at what time they are withdrawing. We need to update the values. Account number is another important thing. Yes. Okay, so when you take a bank, so if you see the database of bank, they have lakhs and lakhs of customers. So those customers details starts with name, contact number, address, account number, and so this is uh, all will be stored in a table like a record. So we'll be seeing how to create those record, then how to read the record, how to access those information from the database, how to insert some values, in the database, how to update those databases, and how to delete some records. Like if I've closed my account from the bank completely, then your bank database should delete that record completely. Okay, and it should be reflected in anywhere and everywhere. Okay, and if you're like depositing some money, then that should be reflected into your database, that should be reflected into your account. So that is what is your CRUD operation, that is creating, reading, updating, and deleting a record. So here we'll be working with a MySQL Workbench. So that database will be using and will be doing all the CRUD operations. And then at last, the last agenda here today is extraction of data in Python. So we'll be just seeing here, I'll just show you, but because since we don't have time, I will just show you uh, just a little thing about how to import pandas in your Anaconda, and then how to extract the data from the Excel sheet, and what kind of operation you can do. I will just show you 2 3 operations. So that is what is extraction of data. So basically extraction of data, why you need is to do data analysis. Okay, so data analysis is an important thing right now, and that can be achieved by using Python, by using pandas. So pandas, by importing pandas from the library, we can extract the data. So I'll just show, we can extract the data from a JSON file as well. You can extract the data from XML files also. But today I'll just show you that since we don't have much time, I'll just show you how to extract the data from the Excel sheet. Okay, I'll just give you some brief thing about of all the fundamental, from the fundamental concept to advanced concept to the databases. I'll just show you little. So that is all that we have. So I'll just come and show you, I'll just show you how to work with the PyCharm first thing. So till now, any doubt, please, you can post it on your chat if you have any doubt till now. If you want me to repeat something, you can just let me know. So this, if you see, I hope everyone can see the screen. So this is your simple Python shell script. So basically, when you begin with Python programming, this is the first thing that you can download. Like you can download this from python.org. So it is freely available. You can download this. Okay, so here you can do a basic function, like it is an interactive mode. Hope everyone know what is in. You can't see my screen. Arush is not able to see. Is anyone who can't see the screen? Okay, so now he can. Okay, so this is your Python shell script. So this is the first basic thing that you will be downloading when you're beginning with Python programming. You will be downloading this from python.org. If you have just started coding, you can just note it down, python.org. You can download the Python shell script. So this mode is called as your interactive mode. So why it is called as interactive mode is it will give you an instant feedback for whatever you type, like whatever programming thing coding you give, it will give you an interactive feedback. So immediately you'll be getting, so that is the reason why we call it as an interactive mode. Like if I've given a equal to 10, so a is a variable here, so the value that is assigned for that variable is 10, then I'm assigning another variable as 20. Then if I perform a plus b, then it is going to give me 30. Okay, so it is an interactive mode where for each and every line you'll be getting a quick feedback for each and everything. Okay, so this is your Python shell script, which is in your interactive mode. So if you don't want interactive mode, if you're going to design a big program where you want to interpret the entire program as a whole, then you can give this, you can go for this one. So where you can just type your entire program and go and save it in your save it as your whatever name you want .py. Then after saving it only, you can run the program. You can just go for, or you can just press F5 and you can run the module. So you can run the program in Python script. Okay, the same program I can run like a equal to 10. So this is how you can save the program and just you can run it. So it is giving the answer 30. Okay, this is one Python shell script. This is the basic ideally that we install, you can install as a beginner. Okay, then what else we can see is PyCharm. So this is your PyCharm. bit slow. Okay, this is PyCharm. So this is how the PyCharm looks. So in the PyCharm, what is the advantage of using PyCharm is you can create a project. So you can just go to the, I think you can see my screen. So you can just go to file and you can create your own project. So in that project, you can deal with multiple files. So in the same window, you can work with multiple files. So if you're working in, if you're trying to do a project which includes multiple files, then I think Python will be the best thing. And also, if you're just began with coding, I think you can start working with Python. It gives you a lot of options, so you can even debug in PyCharm. This is just a bit slow in my case now. Some technical glitch. Okay, fine. I'm so sorry. Okay. Sorry. I think it's not working. Can try one more time. Okay, this is how the PyCharm looks. So it on the left you can have all the files. Okay, so you can work with multiple files, so it gives you a lot of options. So you can create a package. So when you're working with packages, and also it gives you an option called as new. So when you're working with creating a packages or modules in Python, then you can definitely go and start working with the Python. So this ideally will be perfect for such operation when you are doing in Python. So you can just go in the new option. It will give you a lot of file option. While also you can create an HTML file, you can create a Python file, you can create a package, and you can also create a txt file. Also when you're dealing with file handling, you can also go for txt file. Also you can create in your package, like I have created. As you can see, you can on the left hand side there is a text file I have created for working with file handling concept. Okay, so this is how PyCharm looks. So when you are going for a course for Python here with us, you can I will tell you how to install this and how to work with different options in, and there are different other options and you can do with Python, PyCharm. And there's one more thing called as Anaconda. So Anaconda is nothing but your Jupyter Lab. So when you install Anaconda, you need to just give a prompt in the Anaconda prompt. You need to give Jupyter Lab. So a Jupyter notebook will open in your browser. So in that you can work with pandas. So if you're working with pandas, you can just hope you can see my screen. So this is Jupyter Lab. So this is another ideally when you're working with Python pandas, you can go for Jupyter Lab. You can see here as an I have a lot of examples that I've done. So when you're dealing with Excel sheet, when you're extracting a data from Excel sheet, you can always convert your Excel sheet to the CSV file, and then you can start working with it by using pandas. So they here have used data frames, you can see. So there are different data structure under pandas, data frame, set. So data frame is here what I'm using for extracting the data from an Excel sheet. Okay, so you can extract column wise, you can extract a particular, you can even sort, and you can do a data analysis like finding which is the largest one, which is the smallest one, smallest value, largest value in a given in the given data. So that all operation you can do by using pandas. So for that you'll be using this Jupyter Lab notebook. Okay, so this is all the different idealities for starting from your PyCharm to your uh, Anaconda, that is pandas, and also from a simple scripted file also you can see. So that is all about this session. We have already run out of time, so I'll just give a quick summary. So you should know what is Python, then why is it popular, and what are the different career opportunity that is available in Python, and what is the scope, and how I should begin my journey in Python. That is, I showed you different levels from where you should start, and you should have a brief knowledge. So by now I gave you a little brief knowledge about Python. Since it is just a 1 hour session, I can just give you an overall view of Python. Then that's it. Any question? You can post your question in the chat session. Okay, I don't find any question, but I would really like to appreciate all the participants who actively participated and made this session very interactive. Like a lot of people answered, and they gave a lot of answer in the chat session also, and a lot of people unmuted themselves and also asked the question and answered. So it was quite interesting session. So anybody want? Okay, Umar Ali Apkar has raised hand. Okay, what is the question you want to ask? Suggest any best channel or website to learn. So you should subscribe to our channel. You can go to Institute of Technology and you can just register the course with us also in order to learn Python programming. See, if you want to have a clear knowledge from the basic and you need some counseling, then you can just subscribe to our channel, and you can also register with us for learning more in depth. Definitely, I'll be teaching you from the scratch, so it will be very easy for you to learn. So this is the contact detail you can see. So you can contact us for more detail, www.tncil.com/training. If you have any other thing, you can just mail to me as well. So if you have any other doubts, since we are running short of time, you can just note down the website www.tncl.com/training. Not only Python, you will have different courses option available, from cyber security to cloud computing. Everything is available, so you can always visit this site and you can just refer for any kind of training you want. And you can also mail us at subhashini@tncl.com. You can even call us. We have a YouTube channel. You can subscribe for any kind of upcoming webinar. So that webinar will be also giving you a brief knowledge about cyber security, so which is also a trending thing, which is right now. You can know that how much hacking cases going on in this country right now. So cyber security course you can take, that also has a promising future, so that you can also register with us. So you can see a lot of training, course training in our website www.tncl.com/training, or you can mail us at subhashini@tncl.com, or if you have any other thing you want to know, you can call us at this number. Thank you so much for participating. So if you have any other doubt, you can even directly mail me, rubyarya@tncl.com. So it was nice session with you all. Hope you have understood something from this session.